A first question goes like this: Isn't it absurd that we know speaks of sin, and yet we know about sin and commit it again, even though we know better? We commit the sin once more? Isn't that absurd? I am speaking mainly of tangible sins, tangible, that is to say, which unfortunately we repeat in our confessions, and of how we lack living faith, even though at other times we experience miracles, we see the fragrant relics of saints, and, most importantly, we commune with Christ Himself. Well, I would answer this by saying that it is a matter of the weakness of our nature. Weakness means frailty. Because of the frailty of our nature, our human nature, that is why we fall back into the same things. We lack discipline. I don't want to sin, but I sin again because I don't have a strong will, and I don't have a strong will because I lack discipline. I haven't reached the level of self control we discussed in our lesson, so that my self control is strengthened by practice. So if I see things in this way, if I understand them in this way, I have no choice but to emphasize the importance of practice. That is why we say, I set a rule for myself, or my spiritual father sets a rule for me, not to partake of the Eucharist, or I may partake but must refrain from falling into the same sin. I recognize that it is absolutely necessary for us to have the element of discipline in the strengthening of our will. Because, in fact, we go to confession, and yet, as you see, we still. Because, in fact, we go to confession, and yet we keep committing the same sins over and over again. And maybe these are small sins. Although, as I was reading Ware's Also God, a church father of ours, says, there are no small or big sins. There are only sins. And if he says, you can take 10, he says, hold on to 10 things firmly. But if one of them is weak, you'll lose the other 9 as well. Just like with a container. When there's a tiny hole, you're sure to lose the contents of the container through it. Because a small hole there breaks through what you've put inside. You lose everything because of that small hole. That's what a lie does. We often say, oh, it's just a little lie. That's not good. A lie is very, very bad. And it will eventually lead to situations you never would have imagined would result in this outcome. You will reach a dead end, and something truly terrible. This lie you've gotten used to telling is slowly leading you to this situation. So we must learn to recognize the frailty of our nature, the weakness of our Vedhar, self, which is always present in all of us. It slips. It slides. And we must take care, through practice, to correct ourselves. That is all regarding this question.